Darby Hall, and I will be presenting a speech about animal cruelty. Did you know that 192.1 million animals were used for scientific purposes worldwide in 2015, with 110 million animal experiments being performed in the United States? Experimenters force animals to inhale toxic fumes, immobilize them in restraint devices, drill holes into their skulls, mutilate their brains, and burn their skin and eyes. And if the animals don't die in the process, they're killed afterwards. Whether it's for biology lessons, medical training, curiosity-driven experiments, or chemical, drug, food, or cosmetic testing, these animals are confined to barren cages, socially isolated, and physiologically traumatized. Animal testing is a serious problem not only in America, but many countries all over the world. Many cosmetic companies perform several invasive tests on rabbits, mice, guinea pigs, and rats, and often at the end of the tests, the animals are euthanized, normally by asphyxiation, neck breaking, or decapitation. This is something I feel needs to be talked about because it is unnecessarily cruel. In today's world, a vast majority of companies use animals to test products and lethal dose levels of chemicals. Majority of these animals aren't even protected under the Animal Welfare Act, which was signed into law in 1966. It's the only federal law in the United States that regulates the treatment of animals in research, exhibition, transport, and by dealers. In the law, it is stated that the term animal means live or dead dog, cat, monkey, guinea pig, hamster, rabbit, or such other warm-blooded animal for research, testing, experimentation, or exhibition purposes, or as a pet. But such term excludes birds, rats, and mice bred for use in research. Due to the fact that these animals are not protected under the Act, they are denied the most basic human consideration. However, even animals who are protected under the AWA are still allowed to be burned, shocked, poisoned, isolated, starved, restrained, made addicted to drugs, and brain damaged. As I mentioned earlier, companies perform invasive tests on animals, some of which include skin and eye irritation tests where chemicals are rubbed onto the shaved skin or dripped into the eyes of restrained rabbits without any pain relief, along with tests that deliver high doses of chemical substances to mice through repeated force feeding. Rabbits haven't received any pain relief in the Dre's eye and skin irritation and corrosion tests since they started in the 1940s. In these tests, a substance is dripped into rabbits' eyes or smeared onto their shaved skin, leaving them to suffer from inflammation, ulcers, bleeding, irritated and cloudy eyes, blindness, redness, swelling, discharge, and hemorrhaging. Testing in rabbits can only predict human skin reactions 60% of the time, but using reconstructed human skin is up to 86% accurate. Majority of the testing that is done on animals fails when tested on humans. According to an article written by PETA in May of 2021, more than 93% of experimental cancer drugs failed in the first phase of human clinical trials after testing successfully on animals. The survey was based on nearly 4,500 drugs developed between 2003 and 2011. The failure of reliability on animal testing causes harms to humans because of the misleading test results. Imprecise results from animal experiments may result in clinical trials of biologically faulty or even harmful substances, thereby exposing patients to unnecessary risk and wasting scarce research resources. Eli Lilly's Vice President of Neuroscience Research, Dr. Christopher Nordstead, said in a PETA article, "We've been handicapped by the fact that we've been studying diseases in animals that don't really exist in animals. Mice don't get schizophrenia, and they also don't get Alzheimer's disease." Due to the fact that animal testing has been around for a very long time, there's a vast majority of products on the market that are made using ingredients with a long history of safe use and do not require additional tests. To ensure safety and minimize further animal testing, companies can create products using these ingredients. Companies also have the option of using existing non-animal tests or investing in and developing non-animal tests for new ingredients. According to an article published by the Humane Society in March of 2021, nearly 50 non-animal tests are already available, with many more in development. Compared to animal tests, these modern alternatives can more closely mimic how humans respond to cosmetic ingredients and products. They are also often more efficient and more cost-effective. I found in an article on the Cruelty Free International website that there are a few different methods that can be used as opposed to animal testing. Due to the fact that almost every type of human and animal cell can be grown in a lab, cell cultures are a possibility. Cell cultures have been central to key development in areas such as cancer, sepsis, kidney disease, and AIDS, and are routinely used in chemical safety testing, vaccine production, and drug development. Scientists have even managed to coax cells to grow into 3D structures, such as miniature human organs, which can provide a more realistic way to test new theories and therapies. Both healthy and diseased tissues donated from human volunteers can also provide a more relevant way of studying human biology and disease than animal testing. Human cells can be donated from surgeries, such as biopsies, cosmetic surgeries, and transplants. For example, skin and eye models made from reconstituted human skin and other tissues have been developed and are used to replace the cruel rabbit irritation tests. Human tissue can also be used after a person has died. Post-mortem brain tissue has provided important leads to understanding brain regeneration and the effects of multiple sclerosis and Parkinson's disease. With the growing sophistication of computers, the ability to model or replicate aspects of the human body is ever more possible. Computer models of the heart, lungs, kidney, skin, digestive, and musculoskeletal system already exist. They can be used to conduct virtual experiments based on existing information and mathematical data. They are also data mining tools that can help make predictions about the likely hazard of one substance based on existing data from other similar substances. The last alternative I will talk about is human volunteers. Advances in technology have allowed for the development of sophisticated scanning machines and recording techniques that can be used to study human volunteers safely. Brain imaging machines that can see inside the brain can be used to monitor the progression and treatment of brain disease. They can help researchers understand the causes by comparing them with healthy volunteers. An innovative technique called microdosing can also be used in volunteers to measure how very small doses of potential new drugs behave in the human body. These microdoses are radio-labeled, injected into human volunteers and measured, usually in blood samples, using a very sensitive measuring device called an accelerator mass spectrometer. A few examples of successful human testing are as follows. I'm not going to read all of them, but I will read a few. Brain surgery in Parkinson's patients identified the best place for deep brain stimulation, electrodes to be placed in the brain to improve symptoms decades before the discovery in monkeys. Human population studies led to the discovery that smoking causes cancer. Smoking does not cause cancer in mice or rats. And a German chemist tested the effects of aspirin on himself after an accidental discovery that it helped relieve pain in a patient with a toothache. If companies relied on newer alternatives to animal testing, there would be significantly less unnecessary cruelty and death. 90%. Crude skin allergy tests in guinea pigs and mice only predict human reactions 72 and 82% of the time, respectively. But a combination of chemistry and cell-based alternative methods have shown to accurately predict human reactions more than 90% of the time. What can you do to help? There are actually a number of things that we as humans can do to put a stop to animal testing and create a voice for ourselves. You can sign and create petitions, donate money to good organizations that you've done research about, only buy cruelty-free makeup or household cleaning products, and do research on the products that you're actually buying. A few states and countries all over the world have banned animal testing altogether. California was the first state in the US to ban it, and it actually just recently happened in 2018. I believe that we can transition to a cruelty-free world if countries received the proper utilities and supplies to do so. To do this, as I said, people would need to sign and create petitions and do things that could sway their government in a different direction. I firmly believe that testing harmful chemicals and medications on animals should come to an end sometime in the near future so that later generations can make greater progress and safer conditions without harming innocent animals. According to an article titled "Animal Testing is Cruel, and Here's Why It Doesn't Work," written in October of 2018 by Grant Lindahl, many companies are adapting to the growing movement that doesn't use animal testing in the product development process. Hopefully, that number will grow. As consumers become more educated about where they spend their money and where their products come from and how they were developed, animal testing will become less common, and people in the future will look back on it as something they can't believe we used to do. If we're still using the same cruel methods to test consumer products, there's something wrong. We're either too lazy to innovate or too cruel to recognize that alternatives exist. Animal testing is on the wrong side of history, and I invite you to do your part to actively end it. Thank you.